No matter how close or far they end up through the fold, Jim Bob Duggar and Michelle Duggar's kids have never kept a pending marriage a secret. So it stands to reason that Jana Duggar is not engaged, despite sparking speculation recently by posting photos in which she was wearing a ring on that finger. A rep for her family did not supply an answer. But the 34-year-old, who shares the second-born spot among Jim Bob and Michelle's 19 children with her twin brother John David Duggar, has already bucked at least one trend in the family. She started living on her own without a ring on her finger. Younger sisters Jill, Jessa, Jinger, and Joy Anna were all based at home until they got engaged to their now husbands. But Jana shared in a July 15 video, while giving a tour of her adorable abode, that she'd moved into her tiny house a few years ago and had been working on making it her own. She also said, "We got a really good deal on it at a city auction." But as she went on, it sounded as if the "we" comprised other members of the Duggar family. While Jana took a few years off from Instagram and YouTube, recent videos have shown she's spending a lot of time with the girls. Her younger sisters Johanna, 18, Jenny, 17, Jordan Grace, 15, and Josie, 14, and brothers Jason, 24, James, 23, and Jackson, 20. Plus, with 11 married siblings, she's got 33 and counting nieces and nephews, including John David's 4-year-old daughter Grace and 22-month-old son Charlie. Jana was wearing the ring in question in pics she posted July 8 from a trip to Charleston, SC, with her twin sister-in-law Abby and their kids. On the home front, the doting big sis hosts movie nights. She showed off a massive projector screen and sound bar in her living room on YouTube, and keeps a bowl full of candy on hand for those nieces and nephews. And amid Jana's many tiny space storage solutions is her music corner, boasting a full-size keyboard and her violin hanging on the wall. She also spearheaded having an above-ground pool installed on the property, surrounded by a safety fence with a locking gate, because little kids, sharing in an August 1 video that she wanted to create a space for both the young and the old to be able to come together and have some fun over the summer. In fact, home improvement seems to be what Jana is spending most of her time on. Not only renovating her own space, it used to be one big open room that the city used as a temporary office, but also working on the family farm in Arkansas. Jason, a contractor, and James have also moved into their own places nearby, but remain close to home in spirit. Jana was still living with her parents at the height of the pandemic, admittedly feeling a little pressured at times to pair off, but also not all that worried. "Yes, I long to be married," she told Us Weekly in 2020. "One day I think that will come, but also I'm just trying to stay busy with whatever comes along my path and just making the most of these single years. And then, when that time comes, then it'll be the next season of life." Jana added, "I think if I sit there and I'm like, oh no, I'm not married, and just all worried about it, it makes things way worse. I just find the next thing to do is stay busy." Added Mom Michelle, complimenting Jana's entrepreneurial ways. "If it weren't for her, half the projects around here wouldn't get done." Case in point, Jana recently showed off that she had joined forces with her brothers a few years ago to turn the Duggar home playroom into a twisty slide boasting destination where kids of all ages would want to hang out. And as anyone who lives on a farm knows, the work is never done. Whether the task is welcoming a host of newborn animals in the spring, shearing sheep, feeding horses, or clearing out a shed with an appalling amount of junk in it. "I absolutely love this time of year," Jana said in her June 30 return to YouTube, her first video update in almost 4 years. Showing off all the projects she and her siblings had been tackling on the farm, she noted, "You can see the flowers growing, the vegetables are starting to grow, and it's just new life that is blossoming everywhere. It is just so beautiful out here," which sounds like the perspective of someone who's happy right where she is. And in any case, you can't blame a girl for wanting her own space when you grow up around this many people. Here's a guide to the
Parents of
whole 19 and grandparents of over 36 little ones started out as high school sweethearts. Michelle has recalled being saved at 15. Then, one night, Jim Bob was making home outreach visits on behalf of his Baptist church, and he ended up knocking on the Rourke family's door after his friend told him that this girl from school that just got saved and is a cheerleader lived there. They invited Michelle to Sunday school at their church, and Jim Bob said he prayed to God that they could be each other's spiritual leaders, though apparently their first meeting wasn't as memorable for Michelle. A year later, she applied for a job at the frozen yogurt shop owned by Jim Bob's parents. You came to the counter where I was standing by the cash register and introduced yourself, Michelle remembered in a letter posted on the family blog in 2017 for Jim Bob's birthday and their 33rd wedding anniversary. You were shy but very sweet. I really don't remember much about that conversation, except that you finally mustered up the courage to ask me if I would go to your junior-senior banquet with you. She attended the dinner with him at Shiloh Christian, but it was when they hung out afterward, discussing the Bible for hours at her parents' house that she knew. From there, we believe our hearts were knit together, Michelle has said. We graduated high school in May of 1984 and were married in July. I was 17 and Jim Bob was 19. The couple dedicated themselves to God and each other for the long run. Jim Bob is a former state legislator, having served in the Arkansas House of Representatives for the 6th District from 1999 until 2002, during which he was vice chair of the House of Corrections and Criminal Law Subcommittee. A run for U.S. Senate in 2002 ended in the primary, as did a bid in 2006 to become the Republican nominee for Arkansas State Senate District 35. He and Michelle, who are both licensed realtors, have been active in conservative causes, an aspect of their lifestyle that won them and 19 Kids and Counting, which premiered in 2008 as 17 Kids and Counting, both fierce supporters and fierce critics. A robocall Michelle recorded in 2014 encouraging people to vote against a proposed anti-discrimination ordinance in Fayetteville, in which she said she was calling to inform them of the so-called dangers of making it legal for transgender men and women to use the facilities they feel safest and most comfortable in, inspired a Change.org petition demanding TLC cancel their show. On their 30th birthday in January 2020, John David's twin confessed in a sweet message to him, "Ever since John and I were little, we've been asked if we have that twin thing. You know, the thing where you feel what the other one is feeling or know what the other one is thinking." Well, John, I've always answered that with a no, but now I can honestly say that the day little Gracie was born, I felt every bit of happiness that you did. So I guess it must be real. Jana continued, "It's so sweet watching you and Abby as parents. You're naturals, and the same qualities that have made you a wonderful brother will also make you an amazing dad." And while Jana watched 11 of her 18 brothers and sisters get married before she found love with Stephen Wisman, whose sister Hannah Wisman is married to the former TLC star's brother Jeremiah, she believes it's all part of God's plan. "I haven't always understood what the bigger picture is, but I know that God knows what is best for all of us. And so for me, it's getting married later," Jana told People in August 2024, shortly before her wedding. "Each of our stories will be written differently. If we were all the exact same, it would be a boring life."